look, you see them?
Tell us what you need to know about this.
Oh, look.
Hey, what do you do? Guys.
Look out there.
Was easier a few years back. All right. This is the position that your left seat sat. Right here. You want to get in the 50 side? I'll open it up.
Does this take you back?
Nah. not so to speak, no.
You crawled in there just like you were old time.
Yeah, it was easier when I was 20. Yeah, I can't swing that 50 in. The mount, you can't swing it. Well,
Can you swing it?
no, I had to set it up so the people couldn't.
Oh, this is amazing.
All right. What else we need?
So your pilots would be up front?
Yeah, we got two guys up there already.
Hey, don't shoot at me, okay?
This guy would be the co-pilot. He's responsible for the flex guns over here. On both sides, there's a pistol grip right in front of him there. He would control those with that. And when we went in on a rocket run, the pilot would fire the rockets on his cyclic stick. And at that point in time, that's when the door gunners took over, making sure that nobody was shooting back at him as we broke off and went back up for another run.
So you'd be their eyes and they'd be your eyes.
Yes, pretty much.
Were there two door gunners? And then each team?
One in the left side, one in the right. Yep.
What about the guy on your right? So I guess, did it matter if you were on the right or the left? Or did you always?
We were qualified as gunners to fly either door for the most part, so we just come in when we were on duty. You could flip a coin. One guy went one side, one guy went the other most of the time.
Have you reunited with any of your other door gunners that you served with?
Oh yeah. Yeah. During our reunions we get together. Yeah, we do.
But isn't it pretty amazing though to be able to have this here at the Midway, to be able to show people?
Yes, I take a lot of pride in trying to maintain it. Yeah, it gives the general public the visibility of exactly what these gunships were. It was a Army aircraft to begin with, and the Navy took them over, and we made history with them from our Navy standpoint. But we don't downgrade anything the Army did, because they were there before we did, done the same mission we were on, and done it well.
Hey Gary, from the dead of sleep until you were in the air, how long did that take when you heard scramble Seawolves?
On my detachment, we were about I would say less than 20 steps from the aircraft. So when the scramble buzzer went off, we jumped out of bed. We left our gear in the seat of the aircraft, and so we were actually getting dressed as it come up. The co-pilot would come up, the first one that was up here. He started the aircraft, getting it rolling, getting it spinning. The pilot would then come up, usually with the event that's going to take place, coordinates of where they needed help. He'd be the last one to get in, and normally the aircraft is already turning at that point. So it wasn't a far stretch to say we were airborne within about 5 minutes of the buzzer. So pretty quick response.
Oh yeah?
Yeah? Thank you, lady. Thank you, young lady.
What was the most amount of missions that you served in one night? One day or one night?
I can remember one night there was an outpost getting attacked, and I can remember we refueled and rearmed 5 times to go out and support the operation. And basically they were already to the edges of the outpost and the concertina wire around it. So yeah, I can remember that one night significantly, but 2, 3 times was pretty much common, but 5 was a lot.
Thank you, Gary. All right.
All right.
Did you get enough? Did you get?
Gary Ely, Gary Ely. You can call me the most handsome of the Seawolves. Be good. I can live with that. When I was there, I was a door gunner, back of the Huey. Flew with some really good pilots. So other than that, I'm good.
I guess so, Gary. How did you sign up, and how did you get involved with the Seawolves?
Well, we talk about this being an all-volunteer squadron. However, it wasn't quite like that for me. I got out of boot camp and picked up the Coral Sea coming back from a cruise, West Pacific cruise. And we went up to Bremerton for a yard period. I was assigned to the aircraft carrier U.S.S. Coral Sea for about 4 to 5 months. We were getting ready to deploy for another Westpac cruise, and all of a sudden here come a personnel through, and he had a message with a set of orders for me to go to HAL-3 shore duty, Vietnam. I did not volunteer, it just took place. It was, I guess, my age and my rate, and the rest of that was what they needed at that point in time. So I did. I got off the Coral Sea, went through training down in Imperial Beach for about 6 months. They told me at that point in time, because I had no intentions of doing anything except taking care of business for the orders I got. They told me at the time that if I volunteered to be an air crewman, a door gunner, they would give me another 6 months of training over in before I went over. So I calculated that, and basically I said, I'm going to be home for one more Christmas if I do that. So I did. I volunteered to be an air crewman, which has basically resulted to be a gunner, and I was. I did make Christmas that year. I went over and set down boots in country January, right after Christmas. So I did manage that, but that's all about the voluntary stuff. I volunteered to be a gunner, but I did not volunteer to go. No, I don't have any regrets. That's just the way it happened.
How old were you?
I was 20.
20 years
Yeah,
old? Just a young guy?
I celebrated my 21st birthday over there in country before I went on a detachment. I do remember that well. I'm 72. Working on 73.
Well, you're looking good.
Yeah, this light's making you look younger. You're like 20 again.
Oh, that's good.
But Gary, when you were 20 years old, and like you said, you didn't volunteer and you have no regrets, but did you have any idea what you were getting into when you got over there?
No, none of us did when we first got going over there. It didn't take long to come up to speed once we got there. I spent 3 months in the maintenance activity before I went out on a detachment. So I got a pretty good lay of the land when we were doing that. I could see the gunners coming in off detachment. We used to have to go in and exchange aircraft every 100 flight hours, switch out one that was already past that flight time, and then take another one back out. So I had a little bit of interface with the guys when they came in. But no, you have no idea. You just have to come up to speed, and I don't think any of us do. There's no way you can experience what went on over there and how it went about unless you were there. You couldn't get it back here, not out of a book or pictures or anything else. You had to experience it.
Is that why it's important to volunteer here to share your service?
They pay me here. We laugh about that a little bit. It's free volunteer, but no, I get to hang around with guys down here. We're in the military. We get to talk about stuff, and yeah, I like hanging out. It's a military environment. Yes, I do.
And also with the visitors here to express, you know, because I think a lot of people don't know about the Seawolves, and because you guys weren't honored until 38 years after your service.
I do. If I'm on the flight deck, basically, if I'm talking about stuff on the flight deck, I usually hang out around the Huey because people will stop and look at it because it's basically the only aircraft up there that's got guns hanging off of it. So they're interested naturally. So I try to give them a little bit of a background as best I could from somebody that was there.
And, you know, I think when you had heard that you were going to go on an honor flight, or that honor flight was going to dedicate an entire flight to the Seawolves, how did that make you feel?
Well, I was privileged enough. I have an adopted daughter, so to speak, here with Melanie. I knew things were going to happen eventually, but it was significant for me. It shows that we're getting a little bit of recognition that we never got when we came home. So just Vietnam veterans overall, whether I was a Seawolf or not, it's significant, and I'm very grateful. Hopefully get to go on the first flight. We'll have to see how it works out.
I mean, Gary, because there is a lot of years to make up for that. The fact that, you know, you talk to a Vietnam veteran and they will all tell you, most all, the fact is that when you came home, you weren't honored, and you didn't have the homecoming that you deserved, and your service wasn't recognized. I mean, you were part of the Seawolves, for crying out loud, and the most decorated and flew the most combat missions.
Well, as a guy coming back to the States, coming fresh out of Vietnam, I came down to the San Diego area, and I went to a squadron that was in Imperial Beach, California. So down in this area, I did not see a lot of that. Was not paying a lot of attention to it at that time of my life. But since then, I recognize, and I just feel that the guys that are coming home now off combat, they get a lot more recognition. I don't hold that against them. I think it's a great thing. I do know guys that experienced a lot more difficulty with that than I do. I know guys that still have PTSD over the issues. I'm not sure why I don't have any regrets along those lines. I've never really thought about it at any length. I've never been ashamed of what I did. I wouldn't want to go back and do it today, but I'm not sure what to say there. My experiences have been pretty mild compared to some of my other guys.
What does your service mean to you?
Gives me something to fall back on. The camaraderie we get, our association, we get together every 2 years, and it's grown to the point now we get a couple hundred members coming to our reunions. I don't know them all, but those that I do know and I'm able to hang out with, it's significant. It's great to be that way, and at my age, it's really good. It's a good feeling. So I respect my service a lot.
And what was it like meeting Mel and knowing that you trained her father, and then she's sitting here showing you pictures? And
well,
you could name every guy in those photos.
Tony was a significant individual. Number one, I never met a Guamanian, let alone in Vietnam. But he was the type of guy, he had a very similar personality to me, always cracking jokes, never took anything really very serious. We kind of hooked up, and like other guys on the detachment, when you flew with a guy, you relied on him to do his job on the other side of the aircraft no matter what. So you get a relationship between the two guys that just like the relations with the gunners and the pilots, the trust there is significant. And I don't know of anybody today, and there probably are areas where and events that take place that they get that close to one another, but that was really something for us. It really was. We hang on to that even today. The pilots that come, I got a lot of guys I flew with, the pilots that I flew with. Yeah, it's great to look back at. My military background makes all that happen. So I appreciate that.
And have you been to the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C.?
I have been there a couple times, yes. It's a significant place. Looking forward to going back.
And maybe sharing it with so many other brothers too.
Yes.
Different experience.
Yes.
And I think there was someone who had said that there would be more names on that wall if you didn't have the Seawolves.
Probably so. I don't think too much about that because there are other guys over there doing the same job we did, time to time. It's kind of, I'm a little more on the, I guess you might say, unrecognized situation there. I'm humble about that, but no doubt other people are the same way. If we did our job right, there were supposed to be people that didn't get killed and hurt, yes. No, you bet. Well, I appreciate the opportunity, I think.